Hello and welcome back to Read Becca for a catch up on my weekend reading again. So we're going to chat about everything that I read, everything I'm currently reading, and everything I'm looking forward to reading, and some other random nonsense, as per usual. So reading was good, but a little slower this week, I would say. Obviously, I still read a ton, but it's been a very stressful week, I think. So in terms of my November reading, I've already wrapped that all up. So I will point you to my November wrap-up video for any longer form reviews on that. But quickly, the stuff I read, I finished up 3 additional books since last weekend. So those 3 books were Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley from the Wild Winchester series. It was a very sweet historical Regency romance, but with a sapphic genderqueer couple. And it's very playful, I would say, in tone. So really, really fun romance with kind of some heist and con artist elements. Then I read Claim the Dragon by A.C. Arthur, and that's a gritty urban fantasy paranormal romance following a thief who is stealing an ancient dagger and the dragon shifter who's kind of security for it. Enemies to lovers. Very fun and spicy romance on that one. And the last one that I read was the print book, Digging Up Love by Chandra Blumberg. And this one is a paleontologist baker romance. It was a little bit prickly, off on the wrong foot, and that didn't quite work for me, but I enjoyed most of the book very, very much, other than the getting off on the wrong foot start. So really liked that one. That's what I read in terms of romance stuff for the November readathon. I read multiple other things though. So I read Alive at the End of the World by Saeed Jones, and he also wrote How We Fight for Our Lives. And I had wanted to pick that up. I definitely need to now because I really enjoyed this. I'm not a huge poetry reader, but this poetry collection was very, very good and definitely kind of hit all the notes I look for. When I'm going into any sort of collection, whether that's like short stories or poetry, I want it to build into something bigger than the individual pieces, and this definitely did that. Not by exploring a single theme necessarily or topic. It did, however, cohere together in a certain way. So I think he's exploring his identity a lot in terms of race and sexuality. He's exploring his internal feelings about that, dealing with grief, personal grief, in quite a few different scenarios. But then there's also this idea of the future and having a future and surviving all of those things, those elements of identity that is challenged, the elements of surviving grief that you feel like is going to sink you. And it's just very, very powerful. So I really enjoyed this. I think there is something interesting in the style as well that is maybe beyond my readership of poetry, in that I believe all of the poems are like this. The line breaks are not where they should be naturally. So it seems like he's doing something that's transgressive, that's making this difficult for the reader, because every line break is not at an appropriate pause. And so I think he is challenging the reader in this. And again, I don't know if I have the vocabulary for that as a not huge poetry fan, but I found that very interesting. I think it would have been easier if we had the line breaks on a natural verse, but it made me certainly introspect and think about, why is he doing this? What is he trying to evoke out of me? I'm not sure I totally got there, but I definitely got that it was a thematic trend, and that he was pushing us and he was making it difficult for us to read through this. And I think that kind of mirrors the feelings of difficulty that he's having in writing this, for sure. So I wanted to quickly read one, and it's going to be difficult for me to read because of the kind of cadence to it and my orthodontics, but we'll do our best. This is Date Night. I meant to bring you flowers, but when I reached your door, all I had in my hands was teeth. Sorry, I meant to say grief. Seems like all I say is grief, or ghosts, or please don't leave. Lately, I say it in my mother's sleep. She used to cry and call out her brother's name in her sleep. I've written about this before. Grief, of course, but also her sleep, but also her brother. He doesn't call me anymore. He is my blood, and in a book I wrote, but I don't think he bothered to read. I grind my teeth in my sleep. A man I used to sleep with told me I talk in my sleep, but blushed and held his tongue when I asked him to say what I said in my sleep. When a Venus flytrap flowers, the 2 white blossoms sit atop a very tall stalk. Green teeth all the way down at the bottom. It's trying to avoid triggering its own traps. It's trying to keep the bees it needs for pollination away from its own traps. I'm most dangerous when I'm hungry. I'm most hungry when I'm hurting. Seems like I'm always hurting. Nothing but teeth. Nothing but the same words calling out to me in my sleep. Grief asking its ghosts not to leave. Please, it's not up to me when I get to stop crying or hurting. Or holding my memories in my mouth, gentle as bees I promise not to eat. But oh, the hurt is so sweet. I just love that. I love that line of, it's trying to keep the bees it needs for pollination away from its own traps. That idea of keeping yourself alive, but having traps against that. So being almost self-sabotaging in a way. Yeah, really, really powerful stuff. So I loved the style, the vocabulary of this. I really enjoyed the poetry for sure. And this was one of my coffee house press books that I don't think I would have bought if I hadn't ordered the catalog. So very happy with that so far, as this is the first one I've read actually. Then I finished a fantasy novella, Driftwood by Marie Brennan. I somehow have read another novella by her, but not her kind of major work, the Dragon Naturalist series. And this was very good and definitely made me kind of want to pick that up, because this is not fantasy in that there's like a lot of magic to it. This is fantasy that's about the joy of world building, I think. It kind of very, very loosely, vaguely reminded me of Space Opera by Catherine Valenti, and maybe even more like palimpsest, because it's kind of whimsical. But Space Opera got a lot of flack because in between the chapters, almost every chapter, I think, she just goes off to show us an alien and their planet, basically. And it's clear that she wanted to just do a bunch of world building more so than actually give us a story. And that's what this is. This is a bunch of world building with not a ton of story. It's almost more like these snippets of scenes. It is stories and storytelling from a collection of worlds. And most of it surrounds this almost mythic character called Last. And Last is very much wrapped up in rumors, and so these are anecdotes about him or things people have heard about him in this land of Driftwood. And Driftwood is where worlds come to die. So I kind of imagine it like, almost like Discworld. It's like a flat world, it seems, where little islands of land eventually like slide up against the established continent, sort of. And so there's the crush at the center and the edge around the rim, and outside the edge is just mist. And then the edgeward lands eventually will have new land islands come float up and attach to the whole disc. And then they are no longer on the edge. And so things are constantly moving and things at the crush are dying, I guess. So it's all about that idea. There is a crazy hot air balloon scene. Like there's a lot to this, but it's all just these very brief anecdotes of these experiences from people from all sorts of different lands. So I feel like you're getting so much about the different cultures, even mysticism or religion. Someone starts a cult in here. It's really all over the place, but it's about a consistent theme to some degree. And so I think very much like the poetry collection, this had that feel of being very disjointed, but coming together into something that was stronger. So I did really enjoy this. I love the writing. In my comparison to Catherine Valenti, I would say this is not flowery prose at all, but it is beautifully written. And I don't know how I would like put my finger on that, because it's not super descriptive. It's clean and crisp, I think, but very, very lovely writing. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't know how to explain the story because there isn't really a cohesive plot. It's these short, sharp tales told in snippets about experiencing this world, and I was definitely here for it. So definitely liked Driftwood quite a bit. So a good amount of finishing stuff, but that put me in a place where I only have a couple things actually in progress for the first time in a long time. I have John Shelby Spong's Biblical Literalism, a Gentile Heresy. I'm making slow but steady progress. I'm really taking my time with it because it's great. And then I have Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this is the second in a trilogy. And I want to finish this trilogy by the end of the year, so I'm a little bit behind. I was hoping to have this done last week, but I think I may be far enough along. I'm almost at the halfway point. I was hoping I was going to get to the halfway point before filming today. I think I'm going to be able to the rest of the day, but I was plowing along, reading great. I did like 70 pages in my one sitting this morning, and then I hit something very stressful today, and now my focus is all gone. So I'm still going to keep chipping away at it. I'm hoping to get halfway through today. And on audio, I have the Standup Groomsman by Jackie Lau. My pre-order hold finally came in like a month later, so I'm excited about that one. More romance reading, and that is everything I have in progress really right now. I kind of still have 3 Musketeers. I've been slowly working at that in the Librivox recording as kind of an aside, but more stuff is coming up because December readathons, I'm going to try to keep it very low key. However, there are still some I want to minimally participate in. So I will be getting up a December TBR probably next week, maybe Tuesday-ish. But it's going to be very light. I want to try to get in, like right now, like this coming week, the Christie's Missing readathon is happening. So I have one book picked out that I want to read for that. So we're going to do it. We're doing it. I didn't watch too much this week, but I did finally finish a show that I've been working on for a really long time. I tend to, with longer shows, lose steam and get distracted by other shiny new things, of course. And so this one has been going on for, I think, more than a year that I've been working at it. And I finally finished Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I adore anything with like musical to it. So it's great, and that's a prominent element. It is kind of what it sounds like, where this woman who's a lawyer, high-powered lawyer on the East Coast, moves across the country to California and joins a really crappy law firm, basically, not prestigious at all, in order to chase down her boyfriend from camp when she was a teenager, because she thinks that they're like fated to be together. And that goes down a whole like very lengthy, crazy, as per the title, trail with the relationship, not just her relationship with him, but with other people. And not until it really gets going in about the 3rd season, I think, it finally gets to the serious mental health discussion. And so I really liked the final 2 seasons. They were fantastic. The music kind of went downhill, I think, in the 3rd and 4th season at parts, but there were still real standout numbers. And the music is done. The main character as well is Rachel Bloom, who you may know from the kind of famous viral song F Me, Ray Bradbury. So she is someone I really enjoy, very good at musical comedy type stuff, and that's very much what this is. So I got to the end of the show though, and was very surprised because there is 18 episodes, I think, and the 17th episode is actually the last episode of the final season. And then it jumps to a live concert performance of their songs. And so the way that the 17th episode ends, it makes it feel like it could have been a 2-part episode or something. And in fact, it's not. The ending does make sense as it is. But I was like, oh, I thought there was going to be more. And the concert performance was actually like really, really fun. I enjoyed it so much. But it was a little bit of a surprise going in and expecting a whole nother episode and then being done. So I enjoyed that. I have started like going through and adding all of the Christmas romances to my my to watch lists on various things. So I went through and found a bunch and was like, oh, I already have that in my queue from last year that I never got to. So I've got a few that I want to get to this weekend, hopefully. So we may do some Christmas romance rom-com watching, binge all those rather than my reading that I'm supposed to be doing to catch up on all these piles of books. So what else is going on in terms of life? Not much. It's been stressful, but not because I've been doing things. It's been mentally and emotionally stressful. So not anything I really want to talk about right now, but just stressful. So it's been extremely non-productive. I've had a weird slowdown early for the year in terms of work. And so I should be having a lot of extra time to read during that, but I've just been finding myself not doing that. And it's weird since being at home, like I feel like I didn't accomplish anything if I don't do something around the house in addition to my actual job during my work hours. I don't know if other people are feeling that, but like if I don't get laundry done during the day or vacuum or like at least some one thing that needs to be done on an ongoing basis, like if I don't manage to get that done at some point during the work day, I feel like I've, been lazy or not actually done what I need to do. And that's silly, but so I did manage to do other things. Like I had some trainings I had to get done that were mandatory, even though they're ridiculous and have nothing to do with me. I got those done earlier than I normally would for the year. And so that kind of stuff, like busy work, is more what I wound up throwing myself into instead of using my time of low work to do like reading or other stuff around the house. So that's all fine. That has also meant that I've not really been feeling it after work. So I've been really like just literally as soon as I finish work, just kind of taking care of the stuff I need to take care of, and then going and getting an electric blanket and being very, very lazy. Trying to read mostly is what I've been doing, and not making as much headway as I would expect given the amount of time I've been putting into it. So it's been a very, very lazy week. I did also have quite cold weather here, so don't want to go outside at all. And Cinnamon's been very low energy, so I've just been, he's been wanting to nap all the time and not really wanting to go outside. And my arthritis really flared up. So sometimes it flares up and it's like really swollen. Other times it just feels like a massive bruise on your joint. And that's where I was feeling until or a little earlier today. I'm feeling much better right now, actually, but like both my elbows and one of my knees, like the outside rim of my joint was feeling like it was just bruised and so sore every time I move it. So feeling much better now, thank goodness. And I think today is our last really cold day where the high is just a little above freezing. So tomorrow it's supposed to be kind of more fallish weather, so it'll be nice. I did sign up for the BookTube prize, so that was kind of in a moment of madness. I decided to sign up for all of the different categories. So I will get a grab bag. I think I'm going to participate in 2 rounds probably this time rather than 3. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when BookTube Prize actually comes around. And if you have not and you're interested, please sign up for BookTube Prize down below. It's still open through the end of the month, and they are looking for more people to sign up as judges. So if you're a commenter or if you have a channel, you can sign up. Anybody's welcome. So definitely sign up for the BookTube Prize. Being low-key also meant that I caught up on most of my watch later. I've had it consistently under 100 for the first time in a really long time, just in time for Vlogmas. So I'm really enjoying everybody's Vlogmas videos, but you're filling up my watch later again. So I'm way out of control yet again. So that probably is my first recommendation, is that you go find some Vlogmas videos to watch because they're so fun. I think the only other actual recommendation that I have for this week is that there was a great author interview that was done by Jolene from BookTube Adventure Girl. If you don't know, she's wonderful, very CanLit or Canadian literature focused channel. She reads a lot of everything, but very, very focused on CanLit. And she did a judging as a Shadow Giller judge, so just kind of trying to follow along this year for the Giller Prize. And one of the judges was Wabashig Rice. So she had Wab on her channel and they discussed that judging process and his books. I've really been meaning to get to Moon of the Crested Snow for a while, and I need to get to it. I really do, because now he has a sequel coming out this year or next year. So yeah, definitely need to get to that one. But it was a really fantastic discussion, like one of the best author discussions I've seen in a while, and it was really fun to hear about the process for the prize. That is it for my week this week. Hopefully next week will be quieter and less stressful, because I could use both, and hopefully I will be able to actually channel it into some more reading or getting stuff done, unlike I have this week. So that's it for me. Thank you so very much for watching. currently 7:04 p.m. on a Friday night. I'm gonna try to finish Driftwood tonight, not too much to go. And you can see it is non-stop parties here. You're gonna destroy that. That's not very nice. Please don't. Please be nice to that. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to sleep tonight.